Hey, this is Dave Blair. I just wanted to rant on something new today. Usually I rant on music or politics or something like that, but I want to talk about car leases because I was helping my dad negotiate a car lease. And it's amazing how many people don't really understand how those things are calculated, and it's not, they try to confuse you with these terms. And also, just a lot of the leasers, the car salesmen, are trying purposely kind of to divert you. All they want to concentrate you on as monthly payment. The first question out of their mouth, what's the monthly payment that you could afford? But that doesn't tell you, even if you can, if you're paying way too much for what that car is worth on your lease because it's a bad interest rate or a bad price or the residuals still, then so what? So yeah, you afford it, but you find out you're paying $159 a month, and you find out your friend got the same car exactly, and he's paying $119 a month. That's not a good deal. So stop, these people selling cars, stop saying what monthly payment, and they'll try to, sell you a sticker. It's no different than buying a car for sticker price. That's part of the factor in there. So let me tell you the basics of this. One, negotiate the car price first. Before you even decide whether you're going to lease or buy, negotiate the car price first. And if the car is $20,000 car and maybe you negotiate it down to $17,000, one thing about negotiating a car, they might say, well, our invoice price is $19, so we can't sell you below that. They make it sound like if they sell it to you for $500 above invoice, they're only making $500. But there's a thing called a holdback, which the manufacturers usually give them back after they sell the car, which could be $500 or $1,000, and you could find this stuff on the internet. So first of all, find out what the good price is. You could go on a bunch of different sites that help you tell you what the going rate is. Usually you could negotiate quite a bit, especially now it's a competitive market. New cars aren't selling as well as they used to. But let's say you do decide to lease. You negotiate the car down from $20,000 to $17,000. That's a good price, and then you negotiate your lease, which is the way to go. I usually don't tell them whether I'm buying or leasing to the last minute, because if you tell them they're leasing, they don't even want to talk about car price. They just give you a monthly payment, and all that is hidden, and they're not legally. It's not even in your paperwork, which is they're screwing you if they don't want to hide that. So most likely. So basically, what the lease is the car price that you've negotiated. Let's say you negotiated $17,000. They do a calculation saying 36-month lease. In 36 months, they estimate what that car is going to be worth when you turn it back. Maybe they estimate, let's say it's worth $10,000. So what they think the car is going to be worth when you bring it back is called the residual. It's a fancy word. All it means is, once the car's depreciated for that 36 months, what they think it's going to be worth. And that would be what you would pay if you were to buy it at the end of the lease. If the residual is calculated high, your lease payment is going to be lower, but your buyout at the end is going to be higher. And vice versa. So that's what that is. If you don't intend to buy it at the end, then you want the residual as high as possible, and that's not something that's negotiable. That's calculation they do based on what they think the car market is. So if the used car market is really hot at the time, which it was for the last couple of years, that residual is going to be high, which means your lease payment is going to be low because just because of competition. So the other piece is interest. You are paying interest, and you're paying interest on the total car, not just your payment. With that, the depreciation. Let's say if it's a $17,000 car, that payoff at the end would be $10,000, for example, and that's your residual, like I said. So you're paying $7,000 divided by your 36 months. But on top of that, you're also paying interest, and they won't tell you what the interest rate is. They'll tell you, oh, there's a money factor, and only people in the industry will understand. And as soon as they tell them that turns me off, because that's bullshit. I've had car dealerships where they say, oh, the interest rate is this percent. Other ones, they're like, oh, it's a money factor, like it's some fancy computer scientific term, money factor. No, you take the money factor, you multiply it by, I think it's $2,400, and you can find this on the internet pretty easily. Just say how to calculate money factor to interest rate. So I'm pretty sure it's money factor, which is usually like point whatever, some number. Multiply it by 2,400, and that's your interest rate. So if you multiply it and it comes out to 8%, you're paying out an exorbitant interest rate. If it comes out to like 1%, you got a good interest rate. And this is different because they hide all this stuff in a lease. So when you buy a car, the interest rate is on the loan and all that stuff. So know your money factor and understand that. And that's if you understand those concepts, and if you use those terms they realize, oh, this isn't, it's relatively simple and anybody could find this stuff on the internet, but it's surprising. I think most people don't go in, and it's rare, because when I started using these terms, they're kind of like taken aback, like, oh, you know what a residual is? You know what a money factor is? I'm like, yeah, of course. I wouldn't go and enter in a lease without knowing this stuff. And there's some fees and stuff on top of that, but if you use, you're pretty good at the basic math or algebra, you could kind of figure out if you're getting a good deal or not. So as soon as they say, oh, let's just, here's the car you want, and let's figure out a payment that you could afford. Well, if the payment is $199, but then my friend down the block next week gets the same car in another dealership for $159 a month, I'm getting screwed. Regardless of if I could afford the payment for the car I like. That's just a sales bullshit tactic, and that pisses me off. I know they want to make the best money, but don't play games with me. And I've had so many times where I knew better, and I listened to these guys talk, and I know they're talking bullshit. I've had guys really try to screw me and say, this is the best you're going to do, and blah, blah, blah. And they go to a dealership up the road, and they beat it by $2,000. So, go in. I mean, they're trying to make a living, and they want to get a good price, but you want to get the best price. And I don't respect when anybody is trying to use sales tactics in a way that's manipulative. And I think that's manipulative when they're hiding an interest rate, or they're hiding, using terminology, nomenclature, purposely to make it sound confusing so you don't ask too many questions. That's bullshit. At least with a car, if you're purchasing a car, here's the price of the car. But you still don't know a lot of times, even there, because they'll tell you, oh, it's the invoice, it's $20,000 car, the invoice is 18, so I'll give it to you for 18.5. And like they're only making $500 on the car. And meanwhile, they're getting holdbacks from the manufacturer of another, who knows. And most of the time you could find most of the stuff on the internet, what the holdback is for a specific make and model, or for manufacturer. A little bit of research, 10-15 minutes online, find the car that you like, do interest, and you're probably in a better position. Another thing that I say is, don't go into the dealership. All of these people have an online sales department. So you email a guy, takes you 2 seconds, just say, what's your best price on the car? He's going to give you a price. Take that, and it's that price, and send an email another dealership and say, can you beat this price? Go back and forth in a couple of days, and you don't have any higher pressure sales tactics. You might have them calling you if you give them your phone number. A lot of times, if you wind up buying it from one guy, the guy that you didn't buy it from is going to be calling you for weeks. Are you still interested in the car? Because they're trying to get the sale. But it's like, too bad you didn't give me your best price, and you don't. So, but do it by email, and then you just show up, and they have the car ready for you, and you do your paperwork, and you're in and out. If they're efficient in an hour, as opposed to high pressure tactics, and then want you not walk away, and then usually they'll say, hey, this is the best price, and then you walk out, and then an hour later or a day later they'll call you back. Well, now we can negotiate. Well, it's like, well, you said you couldn't before, now you do, so you bullshit me, right? And now I don't want to deal with you. So it makes kind of sickens me a lot of times. Most of these guys are honest guys trying to make a living, but at the same time they're put in a position where to make a living, sometimes they have to be not necessarily dishonest, but not quite upfront either. So I think that if you're going to buy or lease a car, those are some basics that you should know. And there's plenty of websites that you could Google that'll give you what cars are selling for, what the list rate is, what the invoice is, what the holdback is, all that basic stuff. So you have a lot of ammunition. There's no reason to overpay. And plus, it's a competitive market right now. So that's about it. That's my rant for the day.